Happy Sunday, y'all. Can I get a one in the chat from one of y'all? Somebody brave enough to let me know you in the bushes, just so I can make sure you hear me. Please and thank you. Nobody? Not one of y'all? Can I get a one in the chat or something in the chat? Let me know if you can hear me, please. Oh. Okay, beautiful spirit. Thank you, ma'am. This broadcast is brought to you by Positive Vibes Entertainment in collaboration with High Frequency Inc. and the Most High Productions, baby. Thank you, LON. Happy Sunday. All right. I'm going to have to run that one back. We're talking about DJ Clark Kent today. I'm going to take my time. He deserves that. Playing a couple of his iconic instrumentals. If you know hip hop, you know DJ Clark Kent. You may not know the name, but you know the vibes, okay? You know the beats, you know the songs. We're going to get into it. And I truly appreciate y'all who are okay with no frills entertainment. Just straight up good energy. You don't need a lot of bells and whistles. I have bells though. I do have whistles. But yeah, not a lot of flash behind the scenes. That's what I do. That's who I be. I'm coming, y'all. Appreciate your patience. Just vibe with DJ Kent. This Players Anthem by Junior Mafia. Come on now. I'm going to run back. Sky's the limit. We're going to get into it. This song means a lot to me, actually. I don't know if y'all know, I write books. I am an author of fiction. And my very first book is called Street Lit. I was one of the forerunners, baby. And this song, I had to play it over and over again for the inspiration. I don't know if y'all remember the song. I don't want to play the lyrics to get the copyright issue, but shout out Diamond Herd. You be changing that name, huh? Happy Sunday, Warriors. But yeah, remember when he had his mama, or the lady, I don't know if it was his actual mama, she was like, baby, look at me. Mama love you. And I know you ain't no little boy no more, but you'll always be my baby. Seems like only yesterday I was holding you in my arms. Now look at you. Now, big. She's like, now look at you now, big. But I worry about you. I worry about you all the time. Hanging out on the corner all times of night with the cruel people. Baby, that ain't nothing but trouble. I always taught you can have whatever you dream. Well, I want you to hold on to that dream, baby. Hold on to it real tight, because the sky's the limit. Remember that? That was like, gave me the chills. Then, cut to the MC. He's like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing tonight? I remember that? I'd like to welcome to the stage the lyrically acclaimed. Woo. I like this young man because when he came out with the phrase, he went from ashy to classy. Ha ha, I like that. So everybody in the house, give a warm round of applause for the Notorious B.I.G. The Notorious B.I.G., ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him, y'all. Woo! Love that. I love that. Then, of course, there's, hey, let's go. Let's get it. I think it never been as broke as me. I like that. When I was young, I had two, besides that, and stripes. I can't get it. Let me get the groove. Okay, let's go. Let me start this back, because this is where it really starts. Let's go. Hey. Let's get it. I never knew. I can't get it. I can't get it. My tongue is twisted. We got it. A nigga never been as broke as me. I like that. When I was young, two pair of Lees. needs besides that pinstripes and the gray. The one wore on Mondays and Wednesdays. Niggas like, okay, wait. The one I wore on Mondays and Wednesdays. While niggas flirt, I'm sewing tigers off my shirt. Yes, I can't get it, but I can sing it when the song is on. I can sing it with Big. And Big was one of my favorites and still is, despite all the controversy around you know who. I cannot hate Biggie. He was done wrong. He was done so wrong. And I think that was a previous P. Diddy back in the day. That P. Diddy, I think, was not the one we have today. I doubt that he was violating Biggie the way he's been violating everybody else he's come across in any place that he enters. Any room, any closet, any storeroom, anything. I don't understand it, but we're going to get into it. Because DJ Clark Kent, I feel like he had the secret to all the sauce. But peace, world, peace. Welcome or welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks, a.k.a. the $1 trillion goddess, baby. I am Goddess Dawn. Yep, if you didn't know, now you do. And I'm back on this Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Now, I'm gonna vindicate myself on that rap. Because I know it. I was looking at the words. That's why I was messing up. But it's in my head strong. Hey, I'm gonna have to play the actual lyrics and just get the copyright. But I'm talking about DJ Kent Clark today, y'all. The original influencer, in my opinion. Okay, a legend, an icon, a movie industry luminary. DJ Clark Kent with so many hit classic collaborations, so much inspiration. If you're a true fan of real hip hop, then you, in some shape or form or fashion, have been touched by DJ Clark Kent. Gone too soon. He did more for the culture than so many who claim to be true pioneers. Not only was he talented and multiversed, he was pivotal in some of the greatest collaborations we've seen really to date, honestly. Like, it could be said he discovered Jay-Z. He literally built a studio for Jay in his home to get him focused on the music when the streets had a hold on him. DJ Clark Kent was able to loosen the grip enough from the streets, get him off of Jay, to let him get in there and work his magic. So he had Jay up under his wing. I think he even managed him. He introduced Jay-Z to Biggie and got them on their first song. I think it was, what was the song? Brooklyn's Finest. Yeah, from, and it was on Jay-Z's debut, Reasonable Doubt, which is a classic. It was a slow moving classic, but it got there. And man, it just warms my heart, that era of music. And DJ Clark's spirit, DJ Kent Clark's spirit is all throughout this music. 90s, a lot of the classics, he had a hand in. Okay? Now, I'm trying to remove the stink of Diddy and all the things we've been finding out as of late so that I can actually do this with the same enthusiasm that I would had none of that ever entered my sphere. However, it can't be ignored. I do have to wonder, with his presence in New York from the late 70s, he started in the late 70s. He knew Diddy had to. A matter of fact, he introduced Shine to Biggie. Yeah. I think he met him at a barbershop or heard him spit at a barbershop, but he introduced him to Biggie. And of course, he had that whole thing where he was sounding like Notorious B.I.G. after his passing. And I think that's what attracted him to Biggie so much. But it can't be denied that Shine spent 10 years of his life in prison because of Diddy. So I wonder if DJ Kent Clark had any regrets about that introduction. I would love to hear DJ Kent Clark's opinion and words and insight on what's going on today with Diddy and everybody else that we're hearing about. And hopefully, he ain't on them damn tapes. I don't get freak off from I don't get freak off vibes from DJ Ken Clark. Everybody speaks of him in high regard, like he was just such a great guy with a huge heart. But you never know, right? You really don't. I'm not gonna speak ill on the dead, but I would love to know the secrets he took with him to the grave, the things he must have seen and heard, the things he must have done. I'm just saying, I'm talking the music. Okay, the music was in its own self kind of a mob, the music industry. Like in order to get your name in lights, in order to get, any recognition, the gatekeepers of that day, they wanted to see authenticity. They wanted to see genuine talent and skill. You had to have it. And you had to also cultivate it if you wanted longevity, which he did. But yeah, I wonder about his relationship with Diddy as Biggie's DJ, because he was Biggie's DJ early on. He had to have had some dealings. Obviously, I didn't know the man, but I feel like I did through his music, like I said. So, yes, thank you. Definitely like this video, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But yeah, DJ Clark Kent, he had an incredible instinct. Okay. He had an incredible instinct when it came to artists. He had an ear and he had an eye for star talent. Now, of course, we don't know the people that got passed on. We don't know the people who didn't make it to the main stage. But, I'm pretty sure he shook a lot of hands and gave out a lot of business cards. And, some things just didn't pan out. But for the ones that we do know he had a hand in, we know that he did a good job. He did a damn good job. Although, like I said, I'm trying to remove all the stink because Jay-Z has been brought into the fold with regard to Diddy, not only with rumors that are swirling right now, but also just by the history that we know of them. We know that they have been tied years. We know they have had a lot of dealings. So for DJ Clark Kent to have been Jay-Z's like number one fan and mentor and like doing all the things for him to build him a whole studio, pretty sure they're pretty tight and pretty sure they've remained so throughout the years. I don't know if I saw any tribute from Jay-Z or anything said. We'll get into some of the things that people have said. But, he had a lot to do with a lot of the music, like I said, in the 90s specifically, but up to like 2018, I think he has credits. He DJ'd, he was a super producer, he A&R'd, he managed, and he's a dot connector. He connects people. Yeah, if not for him, there'd have been no Rockefeller Records. He introduced Jay-Z and Dame Dash. And like I said, and then introduced him to Biggie. And it's interesting what Dame Dash had to say when the idea was proposed that Biggie jump on one of Jay's tracks. But I'm going to actually find that little clip real quick. Let's do that. Okay, let's see. Let's start with this.
20 plus years that I've been here, when self-doubt was clouding my mind, man, and I would just bump into you around the sneakerheads, and you would just remind me that I'm one of the best to ever do this shit while these labels had me down and out. Just a friend, a sweet, kind-hearted man whose cultural impact cannot be measured. If you're listening, or if anybody that knows Clark Kent is listening, let him know that Joe Budden loves him from the bottom of my fucking heart, and that my career and my outlook on things would not be the same without him. Hey, Clark Kent, if you're listening, I love you, man.
So yeah, let's see what Clark himself has to say. Computer. Let's see.
So why was Jay-Z not wanting to focus rap at one point in time?
He was doing well, and if you're doing well, and you look at rappers and rappers aren't doing as well as you kind of look at them like this is corny.
Now, you actually introduced Dame Dash and Jay-Z?
Yes.
So just to reiterate that. Oh, oops. Let me switch the screen over. So just to reiterate that, he passed by colon cancer. He fought it for 3 years. Sorry, I didn't mention that. I haven't even gotten to the actual article I was going to read, which has all those details. But yeah, so it sounds really sad. I did, of course, question how he passed first and foremost, because it's like, did he have pneumonia? Because we know that's been the most common way of death for some of these people. Who Diddy, is now being accused, or that I'll just say that Diddy was around, and that he could have been the problem causer for these people. But no, colon cancer. But he said that that Jay-Z was making money. He was in the streets. He was balling, basically. And looking at the rappers, they weren't making a lot of money back then. The rappers were not something that the ballers were trying to aspire to be. It was typically the other way around.
I did.
Okay, now how did that come together?
Right.
Who are you asking, boy? It's funny because this is like in the time if you're doing well, and you look at rappers and rappers aren't doing as well as you kind of look at them like this is corny.
Now, you actually introduced Dame Dash and Jay-Z?
Yes, I did.
Okay, now how did that come together?
Who are you asking, boy? It's funny because this is like in the times when me and you first met. You realize that, right? Because you were DJing and you were making mixtapes, and that was around that time. Anyway, Dame had came to Atlantic with his cousin Darian Dash to have a meeting about his groups that he wanted to sign. With one was the Future Sound, and the other was Original Flavor. And the person he was coming to meet had them sitting in the hallway all crazy. So I went out into the hallway and I saw them, and I was like, "What are you waiting for?" And they told me, and I was like, "How long?" Like it's already been 45 minutes. And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "You know what? Come on, let's just go." And I brought them in the back. And the thing was, they were young and they were black, and I didn't think that they should have been sitting in there waiting to be seen like that, because I was young and I was black too. And I just wanted everything to feel fair wherever I was at. So I brought them in. I'm listening to the music, and I realized one of the artists was an artist that I already liked, and it was Ski from Original Flavor. And Ski used to be in a group called the Busy Boys, and he had a record called Dropping It. And when I was on the radio, I was already playing the record, but I had met Ski on the road with Dana Dane. So that's how long me and Ski go back. He was in the Busy Boys then. And I was playing his record on the radio, and then he's here with Dame Dash. I mean, he's in a group with that Dame Dash has. So I'm just like, well, I want to sign him. And I liked the Future Sound. I thought they were different, and I wanted to sign them too. So I gave him a deal for his two artists. And then watching him with his artists made me tell him, "You need to hear my boy." And he was like, well, he's from Brooklyn and I don't want to go to Brooklyn. And I was like, no, come with me. We're going to go to Brooklyn. And he thought he was going to get robbed and he didn't think anything good about Brooklyn. So as much as I was with Damon, I would hang out on 141st Street with him, go to 1199 with him. We'd hang out and I'd play parties for his crew and we were all friends. He didn't want to come to Brooklyn. So when I finally convinced him to come to Brooklyn and he meets Jay, he's like, wait a minute, he's just like me. And he's wearing Nike Airs. So as soon as he saw the Nike Airs, he felt comfortable. And then the magic happened.
Okay, now how did they end up forming Rockefeller together?
Oh, wait.
He
said he saw the Nike Airs, and from there he knew he was cool. And that is interesting coming from him because not only was he all of the things that I said as far as the music goes, but he also was a sneaker, I guess, not just a sneaker head and not just a sneaker collector, but he also designed sneakers and had very prolific designs introduced through Nike. And I think he had other collaborations as well. But yeah, this guy really lived his life true to himself. And that is something that I can only respect. So, but this story about how he got Jay-Z out the streets, as well as how he introduced him to Big, and he was resisting it. Well, it was really Dame Dash. We haven't gotten to Big. Dame Dash and Jay-Z's meeting, Dame Dash wasn't really with it. He didn't want to go to Brooklyn. He didn't want to get his own thing going on. Knowing Dame Dash, because he was already making some moves, and he would sound like his cousin was working with him too. What happened to Darian Dash? Do we know where Darian Dash is today? But anyway, he sounds like Dame Dash wasn't, he didn't have a vision of like, well, you never know who this person is. Yeah, let me meet him. He was already into what he was doing. So for him to be able to get Dame to go to Brooklyn after he said he didn't want to is huge, because they would not have met otherwise, or at least not when they did. And timing is everything.
When you're out there trying to get signed, you have to be moving as a unit. So once you realize we're having too much issues getting signed, it just came together and decided to do it on your own. Once you come together to do it on your own, you have to do business. Once you're doing business, you need a name. And Ski had the company called Rockablock, and Tone Hooker came up with that name and came up with Rockefeller for the record label and just took it and ran with it.
Okay, now I didn't get involved in all that.
Biggs is little brother of Bob Alive. He was one of the best out Dame, the crew that Dame was in, and of course Biggs was the best out member too. And he just came in as another partner. He had the funds.
Now you already knew Biggie by this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you kind of discovered Biggie, or no?
No, I wouldn't say I discovered Biggie. I was just cool with him. I was cool with Un. Like me and Un, we knew each other from before Biggie was rapping. We from the streets. I knew from the streets. I knew Justice from the streets, and that was his people's. You know what I'm saying? And you knew about Big because he was rhyming in the street. And we all knew about him. And when he got with Puff, and when C brought him to Puff, we was all like, yes, we're supposed to get a deal. It makes sense. So when it was time to go on the road, he was managed by someone that I taught the music business to. So he was just like, yo, if you're going on the road, we got to go on the road with a professional. And then
wait.
With Clark. And it was all...
I keep hitting the wrong pause. Did he say he was managed to somebody he showed the business to? Because wasn't he managed by Diddy? Or am I wrong here? What? Okay, let me get this back right.
We already was fam. We was already cool.
Okay, now you're cool with Jay and Biggs and the whole crew, and they start putting together Reasonable Doubt. How involved were you in the overall process of all that?
I'm involved in the whole process because the record started in my house.
Really?
Yeah, I built a studio in my house because I wanted Jay to rap. I know I might sound a little crazy, but I was tired of bringing them to studios and abusing somebody else's budget. So I would remix a record, take a 24-hour block, 12 hours, and then the rest of the 12 hours I was making records on Jay. And then one day I was just like, I'm just take this money and put a studio in my crib. And it became the hub for where Ski was making records, and he made a couple of Camp Low songs in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was where you came to work as a crew.
Now, as you were working on Reasonable Doubt, did you have any idea how big it was going to end up being?
I knew since I met him that if he makes an album, it was going to be trouble for everybody. I'm dead serious. I don't know if I was on some shit telling the future, but when I met him, I knew he was the one. And it's funny because he's with Jazz, who I was already the best. And then I'm like, wait a minute. He might be the best, but this guy has that other thing.
And that's the thing. So he was talking about, I think, Jazz O, who was another rapper at that time and who was hot. But then Jay-Z came on, and this guy sounds like he lost his shit over him. He was like, he was in love. I don't know, but he felt like he wanted to invest in Jay-Z. Time, money, resources, energy. And it's like crazy that he's somebody, I've heard his name before. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of that person. But he's not somebody who we know, unless you're deep in the culture, somebody who studies the culture. I mean, I live the culture. So, but some people literally study it. They study, they research, they find songs, and they do find out who's behind it, so unless you're that person, you didn't really know who a DJ Clark Kent was. But to hear his influences and how the huge impact that he's had is crazy, that we haven't heard more about him. And he's not like he was hiding. Clearly he has some interviews out there, not a lot, but he has interviews that are now permanent part of the internet. So it's not like he was hiding, but he just managed to kind of stay under the radar, which was probably how he maintained the length of his legacy. It's unfortunately that he passed at such a young age, 58. Well, I read 58 and that he was born in 66, but there are a lot of reports that say he was 57. So I'm not sure which is the most accurate. I mean, I don't have his birth certificate, but 57, 58, regardless, it's still too young, too soon. Colon cancer is horrific. And I'm pretty sure he went through some pain. And I know that there's a interview I'm going to pull up in a second. He looked like he lost a lot of weight. And that's, typically a sign that somebody is ill. But, there were rumors about a week ago that he had passed. And people were coming out saying, no, this was not true. I remember Angie Martinez said it. Few people came out to say, no, he's still here with us. But here we are a week later, or 9 or 10 days later, and he has since transitioned. It was a long 3-year battle, I'm sure. 3 years is a long time, especially to be fighting an illness. And I'm pretty sure he had a good chunk of change, being that he's been in the industry for so long in executive roles. So I'm not sure if he had a family or what his deal was in that sense. But again, see how private and able to keep his information close to the vest, his personal life. But I'm pretty sure he had enough money to get the best treatment, hopefully, the best treatment. But it's all about preventative medicine and preventative health care and lifestyle when it comes to these type of diseases, because once they get you, they got you. It's hard to undo it, even though it is possible. I'm one that believes in self healing, so quantum healing. Oh, that's your age, Miss Diamond? Yes, he was ahead of his time, beautiful spirit. I think so. Or maybe he was in the very much the right time for the things he brought us, but ahead of his time as far as his thinking and his innovation. The fact that he was living his life doing him. I think since he was a kid, he started DJing, and he never worked like a 9 to 5. He never had to find himself. It sounds like he knew all along who the hell he was. And again, much respect for that. So here he is on Vlad TV talking about, how he was, in Jay's early life when he was out in the streets, and how he linked Jay-Z and Dame Dash, who eventually created Rockefeller Records. We know where that is now, but they had a good run. It was a pretty nice era. And this guy was very instrumental in that. He even said, even with the forming of Rockefeller, he was behind the scenes. He was all in the mix of that because it was done, a lot of it in his home studio.
And his attitude and it was a lot to him. You know what I'm saying? He was something else beyond the fact that his rhymes were like amazing.
Yeah, no calls. Sheesh. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. So where was I at? I don't know if I mentioned yet that so he was somebody who, like we're learning, introduced people to each other, and he also cared about others and was said to have been a really good man, caring, kind, big heart. Um, Now, Foxy Brown, they say, was his cousin, but he introduced Foxy Brown to Jay-Z as well. And we know what we got from that. I ain't no nigga. I don't think I haven't heard him mention Nas much. I saw that as actually a criticism, and I know Nas and Jay-Z had their thing. So I'm not sure. Maybe he never just was, I don't know what his deal with Nas was, but I know Fox and Jay was a little bit of a duo. They say she was a teenager when they met, and there are rumors that there was some SAing going on too. But Foxy Brown actually came out and said, "No, no, no, don't put me up in that, and don't say those things about me and Jay." So she's holding on to that image of them as they want to present it. Okay, she doesn't want us to take it over and change the narrative on her. But yeah, it says she was a teenager when they met, but he introduced them, and that's his cousin. I wonder if he regretted that. I wonder whatever happened with that as far as he was concerned. And again, he introduced Shine to Diddy, like I said, and that was probably a big regret. It has to be a big regret.
And this was happening a lot. Like he was rhyming around people a lot. And as soon as he opened his mouth, he just was like, oh God, this is some other shit. It just was like some other shit. So even if in the times when he was rhyming fast and it's like if he was around you and you was rhyming, when he rhymed fast, it just hurt more. Because if he rhymed fast, it was super clear and the rhyme were like stunning. So it was something else when you heard him. So when the record did what it does and the fact that he is what he is now, this is no surprise to me. That's why I was clear on him. I was like, no, he's it.
Yeah, that's what's up. So when you talk about people rapping with Jay, let's talk about Brooklyn's finest. I heard that Biggie was originally supposed to get the beat.
The beat 100% was for Jay. It's just that Biggie heard it by accident and wanted it immediately. And I just couldn't give it to him. And his answer was...
So this is how Jay-Z and Big met, because of this beat that he made. his music literally connected people.
You keep giving this motherfucker everything. Yo, stop. Yo, let me get that. You give him everything. And I'm like, well, he's my artist. I'm your DJ. So who gets what first? The thing at that point was, if he doesn't want it, you can have it. But it was for him. You know what I'm saying? It was made to give him to do the song. It just wasn't Brooklyn's finest at that point.
Okay, so describe that first meeting with Biggie and Jay-Z. Did they know each other before that song?
No, they knew of each other, but I'm on the road with Big explaining to him how good he is. And he's like, yeah, he's cool. He's like, yeah, he can rap. But I'm like, no, like he's it. And he's like, yeah, all right, whatever. You know, yeah, he's nice. But then, you know, when he heard the record, then it was, I gotta be on the record. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't gonna let it go. He wasn't comfortable with me going and doing this record after he heard the beat. He was like, I need to be on the song. So when I introduced them, it was at the studio when Jay was making the record, which was an hour after Big heard the beat by accident. So I'm just like, you gotta wait. Just wait downstairs in the car. And
He had Biggie wait in the car for an hour before he could get the green light for him to get on this track. And it sounds like he let Jay-Z record the whole thing before he even said anything, which to me didn't make sense. And he even says it here. He should have said something when they first got to the studio. But he did it how he did it, and it worked out.
I'm gonna tell him. So I go upstairs, record the song. The song comes out, it's 3 verses, it's full. And then I say what I probably should have said at the beginning of the session. Why don't you let me get Big on the song? Everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, and they're acting like, yeah, no, because we don't want to pay Puff. Like Dame was like, fuck that, we ain't paying Puff no money, plus we don't know him. And I was like, well, you know,
Boom. We don't want to pay Puff. Damon Dash was adamant. We don't want to pay Puff. That was like the main thing. Now, I'm curious as to why not. Like, what was going on with Diddy and all them? This is in 90. What year's Reasonable Doubt came out? 96? I think 96. So he didn't want to pay Puff. And then he wants to bring Puff's artist in too. But he was cool with that. He just didn't want to pay him. That interesting.
know him. So Jay was like, if you can make it happen, it's all good. And in the background, Dame goes, yeah, but we ain't paying Puff no money. So my thing was, let's try to see if we can make it happen. And if it gets to the point where anything like that goes down and we don't want to pay Puff, then it would have to be Big saying this record has to happen. So I went downstairs, because I acted like I had to go to the bathroom. I went downstairs, I brought him back up. I got called funny. They were like, yo, you're a funny nigga for the whole session.
So he said Big would have had to, like, paying Puff was out of his hands, probably above his pay grade to say some Puff's not getting paid. He said that was up to Big to make sure he could convince him to make sure this thing happened. So somehow there was no money exchanged, but Big was able to hop on this album.
They met each other. It wasn't even like they had a conversation. They just like started to laugh, clapped hands, because there was an insane amount of respect for each other's craft. Like you don't really have to talk in those moments. But played the song. Jay says play the beat. Let the beat play for like 20 minutes. Jay goes in the booth and changes everything and goes, you ready? And Big's like mystified. And I was like, I told you don't write no rhymes. And from that point, Big stopped writing rhymes. He was like, I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be out here writing when this guy can do that.
Okay, so there is a...
And I actually want to say something about that. I don't really like the fact that Jay-Z, first of all, it's been proven Jay-Z bites rhymes. He steals people's lines and even whole bars. People have done comparison videos where Jay-Z has stolen people's lines. So the fact that he wants to downplay writing, when writing was such an instrumental part of being an MC, well, being a rapper, in the beginning, when people actually cared about their lyrics, when actually people wrote their rhymes, they spent time honing their craft, pen to paper. So now here's Jay-Z acting like that actually is a negative. It's looked down upon. And if you write your rhymes, you need to be able to do this from the dome. And so because Big saw Jay-Z doing that, he then didn't want to look like he couldn't do it. So then he said he never saw him write again after that. How much better music could we have had they stuck to writing rhymes, meaning lyric wise? Because I love Biggie, but those lyrics, child, I mean, at the time, back in the moment, in the day, I guess it was all right. I mean, some of that stuff was kind of like, huh? But today, knowing the stuff we know, and after seeing a lot of things play out, really some of these lyrics, a lot of these lyrics, and maybe they wouldn't have been that had they actually written them. So, yeah, I wanted to make sure I said something about that.
Version of Brooklyn's Finest that's completely different, just with Jay-Z.
Yeah. But it wasn't called Brooklyn's Finest. It was called. It's funny because at that point it had two different titles. The title would have probably ended up being No More Mr. Nice Guy. It was one of the titles was Once We Get Started. That was in beginning. That's what the title was going to be. But then after he did the verses, it was No More Mr. Nice Guy, and then he switched everything around. That's why at the beginning on one of the verses it goes No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Okay, so do you still have a version of Jay-Z's original?
That's a good question, huh? We'll leave that right there.
Up until that time, Biggie was right.
Yeah. A bunch of times he don't write his rhymes down. He thought it was like impossible that he could say rhymes that good without writing them down. And the thing is, like, while I'm telling him that, I'm telling him how it gets done. So he's like, no way.
Okay, so they recorded it. Once that session was over, you were like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to understand, like, I thought they were the two best around and they should rhyme together. And the friendship that they had as soon as they met each other was the proof that they should have been working together. Like, it took Big like 2 months to put the verses on it. But in those 2 months before he did it, they were inseparable. Like, the next day they shot a video together. Like, they saw each other, they met each other, it was instant love. Next day they in a video shot.
This was the Dead President's video?
Yeah. Like, people were like, how did this happen? And I go, well, he met him yesterday. It's like, really? You met him yesterday? You doing a video with him the next day? It's crazy.
Crazy.
That's how much respect there was on site.
On site. So there was a lot of respect between Jay-Z and Biggie, but the rumors are that Jay-Z was jealous of Biggie and he wanted his spot. Because mind you, Reasonable Doubt came out, I think if it came out in 96, that means Big was already popping. He came out around then too, 95, I think. But he was hot. Couldn't nobody touch Big. Nobody. He was doing his thing. Oh, well, Tupac, of course. But then Tupac passed in 96. I mean, yeah, when did he pass? September 96. So, yeah, I mean, he passed. Jay-Z wanted, he wanted to be top dog. He wanted to be top dog. I don't know, as tight as they seem to have been, and how immediately they clicked, I just don't see that he was that much of an evil person. Was he evil? People say he evil. Jaguar says it. So a lot of people have been paying tribute to Clark, and from DJ Premier to Pete Rock, Dame Dash, Grandmaster Flash, and actually, let me go over to TikTok. We are slow moving here today on this internet. My bad, y'all. I lost my internet for some reason. So weird. Miss Michelle, yeah, I knew it was you, boo. Yeah, happy Sunday. So, I don't know what's going on with this internet, but let me see. Yeah, I was on TikTok.
Rapper Lil Durk has been arrested for a murder for hire conspiracy plot out of California. So, a little background.
Not let me get to this thing. Okay. What is happening? All right, so the internet's trying to catch up with what I'm doing. So I have a couple of clips I just wanted to play. Let me see.
You got to have at least, just look, 365 days. There has to be at least 365 different pair. I have over 5 years worth of different pairs. You know what I'm saying? I might have triples and everything on one pair, but there's at least 5 years worth of different sneakers. So 5 times 365. I got it.
It's like cocaine, man.
So he had a sneaker addiction. He said
In the 2015 interview,
365 pair for 5 years of shoes. That's crazy. Okay, let's.
I'm a DJ because my grandmother loved a song called Happy Landings. And I learned how to use the stereo. And I would turn the record on every time she came in the house. She would be happy. And I was like, this is it. That's the music. I love the music. I love this music. I love the music. And then I learned what mixing records was. And I just was like, oh, I want to do that. You know? But it's because I would play these songs for my grandmother and she would be happy. She's the most important person I've ever met. And I would make her happy by playing a record. There's got to be something about them records. I'm a DJ because...
So let me get this straight.
The world of mourns the loss of DJ Clark Kent, a monumental figure who passed away at 58. Celebrated for shaping East Coast sound on tracks like Jay-Z's Brooklyn's Finest and the notorious Big's Sky's the Limit, defined a generation. His signature rich, soulful beats and innovative sampling techniques became synonymous with 1990s rap culture. Beyond his musical prowess, DJ Clark Kent's spirit as a mentor lifted countless emerging artists, illuminating their paths with wisdom and inspiration. Colleagues and fans remember him not just for iconic hits, but for his unwavering dedication to nurturing talent. Although he is gone, his legacy lives on in the timeless music he crafted and the hearts he touched, ensuring his influence will fade.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think I did actually, but let's just end it with that. Really, I had something else that he said that I liked. He said it. He interviewed with Rory and Mal. I don't know if you guys know who they are, but let me see.
The hip hop. The record company looks at rap like, oh, this is entertainment. We're gonna make as much money as we can and get as many rappers as we can. And then you start to lose the talent level because you're just signing something to get market share.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think that shift happened? Business coming into hip hop? 86, 85, 86. It started out right. You know what I'm saying? Sugar Hill started out, you know, they were the first rap records. Yeah, the deals might have, they were the catalyst for things that could be great. You know what I'm saying? And then as soon as Rakim came and showed you that the talent level is on another level, that's when I feel like the money became something else to the record companies. Like, oh no, let's go get more to building KRS and the people who really shifted the pen game in the music business. You know what I'm saying? Like the Canes. As soon as that happened, it was like, oh, free fall.
And do you think that just came with music, or could that be attached to, say, Adidas in 86 with Run DMC and seeing not only can we sell music, they have the influence to also move product for us. They are the tastemakers.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily just blame it on rap. I blame it on Black folks. Black folks are the catalyst to sell damn near everything. And everything that we think is cool becomes sold on a different level. You know, so.
That is what I liked. When I heard that, I said, this guy knows the deal. Black people, we just have a natural swag. There's just something about us. People want to be us. They want to see us. They don't want to see us, but they want to be us. But what he said made so much sense, because Rory asked him basically if the music executives saw the opportunity to push products when they saw that these guys were moving the music the way they were. And he said, we've been doing that. We were doing that before they thought of it. It was already happening. They saw it happening and they decided to push it even more and even steer things to where that was more of the focus.
That's a Black people thing. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
What would you consider the first sneaker to be associated with the hip hop culture?
I think all sneakers were associated with hip hop because everybody wears sneakers. I don't single out hip hop and why it's so important. I single out basketball, you know?
Okay, let me stop there because I already made my point. But I think Adidas was the first sneaker, wasn't it? The first sneaker associated, my Adidas. I mean, it was huge, and it crossed. It was a crossover song because I went to a very diverse high school, and I'm aging myself, but I think that's when that song came out. But I remember all the YT kids was loving that song. But yeah, this guy was definitely an icon and somebody who, unfortunately is too soon. But he's a great example of following your truth and being true to who you are and not compromising, because he didn't. And let me see if I could do this before we go. Let me see. Because why not? Okay. I might get the copyright.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing tonight?
See, they cut the mama out, but it's okay. We're going to do this one.
I'd like to welcome to the stage the lyrically acclaimed. I like this young man because when he came out with the phrase, he went from ashy to classy. I like that. So everybody in the house, give a warm round of applause.
DJ Clark Kent gave us this beat. Shout out to him. Let's go. A nigga never been as broke as me. When I was young, I had to carry bleeds, the pinstripes and the gray, the one that wore Mondays and Wednesdays, flirt, and alligators. You want to see the inside? I'll see you later. Oh, that's the nigga with the fake bow. Stay in your place. Intuition. Hey, while your friends watching. And respect. Might be next. Slow with them. The cookies, butter crunch. White dunks. Hey, sky is the limit. Yeah, we want to get to this. Sky is the limit. Get what you want. Sky is the limit. Have what you want, be what you want. Yeah. All right, y'all. Listen, happy Sunday. I'm so happy that I have y'all. Love y'all to death. And with that said, we're going to end this live, but not before I let my girl Tia tell y'all bye too.
Toodles, toodaloo, move around, go on somewhere, do you, get on, scat, buy, dip, flee.